that I got. It is gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. Here is the fabric. It has, it's a lace, which is more of a netting material. It's netting in between. And then you have this gorgeous um, embroidery with sequins at the very bottom. It's actually on both ends. So the material is only about 44 inches wide. And let me see. Oh, see it even better. Okay. Now I'm gonna take the board out the way because it probably distracts you. I'll tell you why I had this board up in a second. It's an old-fashioned board, old-fashioned cutting board. But anyway, so it is salvage to salvage. This is how you see it. Very pretty print. It's blue and it's gold, blue and gold. So when you use or you have a material such as this, you have to be very strategic as to how you lay it out. You just don't want to lay it any kind of way, because you don't want to cut up the pattern so much that you really don't enjoy the beauty of it. So I have a couple of styles in mind, and I'll actually, when I complete the dresses, I'll make sure I post them. But there's two different dresses that I'll be making out of this print, just so happen. I feel quite honored that I was, someone referred me out. So I'm thankful for that. But anyway, but there's two dresses I'll be making out of this print, or this material. Now this is the overlay, and this is the underlayment. The underlayment or the lining is the fabric that's going to touch the body, whereas this is going to skate over it. Now, right now I do have one of the pattern pieces pinned on here. As you can tell, my work table is a good width, but what I wanted my cutting board for is it gives me a little bit more space. It comes out to another 6 to 8 inches, which helps me to plan and do this right. Right now I have, because I'm getting ready to do basically a mermaid style dress out of one of them. And what I have to do is, so that I don't waste a lot of fabric, and this helps me to give it shape without doing a whole lot of cutting. My technique that I plan to use on this particular dress is I'm actually going to lay this overlay on top of the pattern piece that I've already cut, and it's already sized to the size I need it to be. I've pinned it in certain places so it doesn't shift, and what I'm going to do is do a basting stitch around it so it stays in place and it doesn't shift. But I'm going to make sure when I do this about not, because I'm doing it by hand, I'm going to do it about 1 inch in. And the reason why, I'm going to come back and actually sew each piece together with the sewing machine. But I first must baste it in place so it's not shifting. And then what I'm going to do is, I have my other piece here. Now the skirt's already together because I measured it on the individual, and I wanted to make sure it fit before I even cut this. The lining was done first in order to come back and put the lace overlay on it. So I'm actually going to take, because this is the side, I'm going to show you right real quick. I can't even talk straight. I need to mark this before I do this. Mark it or take it apart. Now, like I said, it's already sewed, and because it's already sewed, I can go ahead and cut the excess fabric that I happen to have on it off, because I wanted to make the dress to fit a little bit more but not be too tight. and gives her enough room to move in it. So right now I'm cutting it to where it's a 5/8, roughly about 5/8 inch. Okay. First hand behind me. Forgot I moved it. Then I'm going to seam rip it apart. And you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. And it's always good to have a good seam ripper, because it makes your life so much easier. I have to be careful that I don't rip the fabric, because it can happen because the end is very pointy and I can rip it. So I have to be very careful to make sure I place it in the right spot. Yeah, some people are not able to rip it like this or take seams apart. As long as you take your time and you do it right, you can get a whole seam done in no time. But of course, because I'm showing you or doing it is the reason why you can't really tell how quickly it's going. It's all about positioning it in the right spot. I do. Now, there will be seams in this, but the only seams I plan to put in is on the side seams. It'll be 2 side seams and then, of course, the back seam. You can't sew up the back seam because you got to put a zipper in it. So, I'll cut the piece like so. Now, like I said, I still have to do my stitching or my, oh, she is just, grandbaby's a little extra tonight. She's a little unhappy tonight. But, this is the reason why I needed my board. Because I needed space and it's a drop off right here. But, I take and skate it. I moved it over just far enough. I know you're going to think it's really weird what I'm doing. But that's okay. This is my technique and this is what works for me. You have to find out what works best for you. But this technique for me is going to work best because of what I want to do. Okay. Of what I'm going to do. I make sure the hem is about a 1/2 inch at the most in one spot, that it's what you want to say going below this lace. It's about 1/2 inch at the most in some of the places, and that's because there's a curve on this pattern piece at the very bottom. But I'm doing this so that basically this is what's going to happen. I'm finish pinning it and pay attention to what I'm doing. Fabric is wrinkled, but that's okay. It can be wrinkled for what I'm doing right now. I need to make sure that when I'm done, like I said, I got to finish pinning all the way to the top and get it so it's not going to shift, and at least this piece will be done. And of course, if I put it in the right position, this is, you know, like if you're matching the seams, I know where my curve should be, but now I know it's right because of the way the curve is. It's a line here and here, or marking there and there. So what I will do is, after I've basted about 1 inch in on both pieces, hand basting, it's going to be much easier than sewing it down with a sewing machine, so that I can take the stitches out. I'm going to hand baste it, and then I'm going to actually match the lining to the lining, match the lining to the lining. Now all of this in the middle is going to go away, but because these are basically appliques, I don't want to waste these. I can use these appliques on the top of the dress, around the neckline, so they're not going to go to waste. Just because they're in the middle and that's a lot of removed, it will not go to waste. I am going to use it. Once I'm completed with this and I've done all my pieces the exact same way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some horsehair on the bottom of the hem, because this has a little bit of a weight to it, and when I put the horsehair in, it's going to help the dress to stay out versus it falling in, and it stays out and it just looks fabulous. Thanks for stopping by and checking out Lessanne Creations. You can continually follow me on Facebook as well as Instagram. Keep watching as I sew.